gets us in our dreams, and we go and see what he needs help with in the book.
Did Charlie choose his character name himself?
Feshy comes from an online game that we played together. He was Feshy, and I was Gigi, and Bobby was Falk. So I just, decided to go with these three characters that we played a game with. Played a game, an online gaming.
So have you ever had an encounter with Charlie in which he gave you specific information that helped you make a decision?
Yeah. I was having these dreams, and I kept telling my husband, I said, I have no idea what these dreams are. They seem so real. And he says, you talk about real. You ever see the bruises on your body? And in the dreams, I would see Charlie and I were defending ourselves from actual monsters. Mm-hmm. So I put the shadow mist in the book represents my grief, represents Charlie's bullying, represents bias. And he says, Judy, I'm not kidding. You got bruises behind your thighs. You got bruises on your arms.
Wow.
And what have you been doing? I said, Doug, I go to in the dream, and I'm fighting hand-to-hand battles with Charlie with these, characters. Like in the book and stuff. I don't know how to describe it to you. And you got to be there with me. You're not there in the dreams, so you're not in the book.
But that doesn't sound like heaven. That doesn't sound like heaven. That sounds like a crazy place.
Yeah.
Yeah, my doctor said, Judy, what are you on? And I said, this is what you put me on. And he said, your imagination is unreal. I gave him a copy of the book, and he read it, and he says, when's the second one coming out? He left me hanging.
Is your husband a character in the book, and how does he deal with the loss? Is it different from you?
He's in book 2. When I mention Pesci keeps mentioning Dad, that's my husband. And the second book, he'll be in there more as I write him. I kind of like visually put him in more and more. Mm-hmm. And how he handles it. We all have our own way of handling grief, and his is we'll talk about Charlie and all the fun stuff we had, and I'll start crying, and he'll give me a hug, and he'll say, "Oh, I know," and it just mostly at first after Charlie passed away, he'd go into the woods. That's where it starts. The book 1 starts from is out the woods across the street from our house. And Doug would go out there and, clean up the woods and saw down trees and spend a lot of quiet time out there. And his mother was here for a couple of months, and I don't like him going out there in the woods, she'd tell me, and I say, that's his way of handling the grief, and let him go and don't say anything.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah. So have you had somebody, since Charlie died, it's been, how long? Since 2009, 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5 years.
Have you had another death, not maybe in your family, but somebody you know, and you can console them with the messages from Charlie?
Have I had somebody that I know pass away? Or?
Yeah, and have you used what you've learned since Charlie died to help somebody else out with their grief?
Yeah, I work online with a company out of California, and a year ago, a coworker's son committed suicide. And so I talked to her, online and trying to, here's how I cope with my grief. I wrote a book, and I said I put most of it at the beginning when I didn't know what I was doing, When you're in those dark days, as I call them, you don't know what day it is or anything, the time of day, and you're just kind of trying to survive. She said that's where she was, and I said, well, I started out in a journal. So she says, Judy, I put my deepest thoughts in there that I would never tell anybody. And I said, that's the way to do. That's the way to cope. And now she's getting involved with that PTSD.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
her son was a Marine, and he's having problems with coming back from Afghanistan. having problems with that.
Oh boy! So
Hey,
tell me about BJ. BJ is your younger son, and he helped write this book.
yeah, I home educated him, and I said, Charlie told me, Bobby came down one morning, and my house was a fog, and I kind of sat on my computer, and I'm like, what's with the fog? And from the fog came Charlie's voice, Mom, I want you to write a book about your dreams. And I was just sitting here muttering to myself, I don't know how to write a book. And he said, it doesn't matter, just turn it around and start typing, and we have this. And Bobby came down, and I said, Bobby, did you see the fog? He said, gave me that kind of look like I'm crazy, you know?
Wow, no.
And I said, Bobby, Charlie wants me to write a book, and what do you think? He says, go ahead, come on, I'll help you. And so we started writing together, and he would write, and I would edit, and I just made it part of our home school.
Oh wow! So when we read the book, are we getting an accurate picture of what you've experienced, or have you fictionalized it a lot?
Well, it was an actual picture of Charlie and I talking about. My point of view was you died and left me alone. Because we were really close. Did a lot of things together in life as a mother and son does. And you up and died and left me alone. How am I going to go on without you? And then he, Mom, I want you to help with bullying in real life. I don't like what I'm seeing. He would tell me. In other words, I'm saying what happens in earth, they can see from heaven. And he's communicating with me. I don't like how many kids are losing their life through bullying.
Yeah.
A lot commit suicide.
Yeah.
I don't like that. You need to get out and help as much as you can against bullying. So that's book 2. And I got in contact with our new Baldwin County superintendent about being an advocate in the school system against bullying. And he told me he'd get back with me, and thank you for putting yourself out there for school kids. He thought it was a great idea. He was Charlie's principal in first grade.
Oh, wow.
How did the spiritual leaders of your church accept the book?
I have no idea, but all of my family is Catholic, and I have a cousin that's a nun, and I put it in my Christmas letters. I'm working on a book, and it deals with heaven and what my dreams of seeing Charlie, and she thought it was a wonderful idea. Even though she is my cousin, she's a nun, and she had no problem with it, and they just love it.
Wow. Judy, we're just about out of time. I want to be sure that we give the listeners the information so they can take a look at the book and buy it for themselves. I have a copy, so let me offer it first. If you would like the copy that Judy sent us, it's called Beyond Life. You may have it if you call me for it right now, 622-9622. The rest of us will have to go buy it. Judy, where is it for sale?
On my website, jadiller.com. And you were telling about the Easter card that you found on the ground?
Yeah.
We just put up our Christmas tree, and I was in the ornament box, and there's ornaments in there I never seen before.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I was, always thinking I'm closest to Charlie at Christmas time, and I'm like, oh, they're so adorable. And I found like 5 of them.
Wow.
And I just stood there and looked at them, and I just smiled. Thanks, Charlie, for the gift, and I hung them on the tree.
Oh, gosh.
Wow. Let me answer this call. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Betty.
Betty, you've got the book. It'll be waiting for you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Judy, thank you so much for being on the air with us and sharing this story. I know it's a very personal one, but I think you give a lot of hope to people when they hear you talk.
Well, they can get in touch with me on jadiller.com, and there's on there where you can contact me, find my Facebook page at the top right-hand corner, and Twitter, and it's just a website one of my friends made up for me.
Okay, jadiller.com. Diller, as in Phyllis Diller, right?
Yes.
Same last name. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Judy, and have a great Christmas.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill in Washington, D.C. Protesters slowing traffic in the nation's capital, speaking out against the non-indictment of a white police officer for killing an unarmed black teen. Activists calling for a national walkout today. Fergus on the topic in a series of meetings for President Obama today.
First with his cabinet in a review of military-style equipment provided to local and state police.